episode of K-Sports Podcast. You're having on the show T-Swag, and I have a guest with me here on the show. My guest, what's the name?
Hi T-Swag. Hi everyone. My name is Euphoria. It's my debut on the podcast, and it's nice to be here. To talk about sports. It's kind of weird because for me, I think most of my season is over, but the other things that keep the fire burning. So yeah, the NPFL season is ended right now. The NNL is ended. In Europe, all the European leagues are on hold, obviously ended way before ours, and everyone has focused on the Euros and the Copa America, and of course other sports if you enjoy other sports like me. But for football, those are the few things we now get to watch in football. Nothing that keeps your pulse as vibrant as when you're looking forward to drama that happens in football. And for someone that enjoys the local league, you can understand how much drama goes on in Nigeria. Nigeria as a Nigerian, you understand what I mean? Yeah. Then you now bring it to our football, and then you see that, okay, in the NPFL, in the NNL, there's so much drama, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything right now. We have to wait until the 2024-2025 season. But it's great to be here and to talk about all of that. So thank you for having me. All
right. Yeah, talking about that, I can see, despite the fact that the whole season, the European seasons has ended, but yeah, there are still major events happening like the Copa America and the Euros going on presently. Now, talking about the Euros, we've been watching Euros for quite some time now. I think they are in their third match stage, the three of the match, and so far the focus has been on the Three Lions of England. Let me ask you this: what do you think about the performance of England? Because everybody has been criticizing them. The expectation on England is just too much. Like, people expected them to play beyond what they are playing presently. So what is your own focus, or your own aim, or your own opinion about their game?
Okay, I'll look at it from two perspectives, the objective and the subjective. The subjective, because I have a bias, I don't like them. Coming into the tournament, when I saw they would be grouped with Denmark, I had this bias against them after that Denmark game in the semi-finals in 2021, the Euros 2020 that was played in 2021, where they defeated Denmark in the semi-finals on their way to the finals, which they lost gratefully to me. So coming into this tournament, I just looked at them. I said, normally England is always that team that a lot of people would see their stars and believe that, okay, going into this tournament they should do well. It's been like that for the longest time. They broke the jinx of getting to a major final for the first time since 1996, where they won their one and only major trophy as a national team. So you can understand that despite they are always a team that would boast of very good players, top stars. As long as I've been watching them, even before then, we are always going to hear England carrying array of stars from different leagues, not just the Premier League. If you want to talk about this set right now, you remember very well that the star boy of the moment, one of those that is being poised as the person going for the individual award, that's Ballon d'Or. You see, he's from Spain. He plays in the La Liga, so you will not just say it's okay because they are all English based players. But yes, that's how it has always been, from the years of Beckham down to the years of Frank Lampard. All of them, you expect them to do what they don't do well. So for me, I don't even like them. So whatever they wanted to do in this tournament is just playing out what I actually thought they would do, and it's coming out that way. But objectively, for England, you expect that for a team that got to the finals of the last one, you also expect that for a team that it's in a group that is not relatively. They have 6 points. They have 4 points actually, 4 points, which is not bad. Yeah. But I don't see, except something dramatic happens on the final day, I don't see why they should not qualify from the group. But you expect that in such a group, you expect that they should be doing better. Not just doing better, playing better. That first game where they got all 3 points was probably, by the time they played their game, it was probably the worst game everyone had seen. And we needed Turkey and Georgia to help us rinse our eyes from after seeing that game. So it's definitely what a lot of people will talk about. Not because they are a very good team to watch in this competition, but because, as usual, you expect something more from the English national team, and they end up disappointing a lot of fans. They are not out yet. I mean, like I said, they don't look like people that are going to crash out in the group stage as it is right now. But you also want to imagine that looking at how it's going, they most likely will face the host nation, who is Germany.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not looking really good for them, but it's something that you expect. And then coming into this competition, they looked like a team that you should not put your money on. I don't know why people are so surprised when they saw what they did in the first two games. I mean, we saw their friendlies, we saw the qualification also. We also saw them in the Nations League. So what is the big deal? You saw what the coach decided to file out in the first two games. There's this joke a friend said during the second game, and said, why did they even bother wasting the graphic designer's time if it's just the same thing that you're going to file out as your starting 11? And well, it's still the group stage, so maybe that's why Gareth Southgate has decided to maybe experiment with everything that he has done. Because normally, yes, I don't like them. Yes, they've been underperforming, but there are obvious things that you look at in that team right now. I mean, in the Euros, I'm not bringing from us, in the Euros right now. Ask yourself, what is Southgate doing? What on earth is he trying to prove? I know England always like to give their starters. We all know their starters from their jerseys from over the years.
Yes,
so once we saw someone like Trent Alexander-Arnold, we knew he was going to be a starter. But in the position he was going to start, I felt it was a joke until it happened. I saw the number 8 jersey, and I'm like, okay, maybe he's just wearing, because we have to have 1 to 11 as starters. But after the first and second game, I shook my head. But Southgate still have time to correct it. So I just feel like it's something that was bound to happen, something that's happening. So it's not really surprising for me in that particular conversation.
Okay, all right. Talking about the English team, to you, it's just the normal thing they're supposed to do. That's what they're doing. Not that there's anything special about them. Do you think their media, the English media, has been the backbone behind these players, behind the hype they are giving to their players? Because before you see it, an English player will come out, let's, for example, Jude Bellingham, there are some people that still down talk him, like Jude Bellingham is not playing up to what the expectation. They say Jude Bellingham is a good player, but not the way they hype him or something. Do you think the media has been the backbone, or it's just the way English team has been from onset?
It plays in both ways. Backbone of the team, well, they're very loud, and they're the biggest when it concerns projecting their own products from their country. Everything they have, they project it very well, so it's expected of them, and it's been like that for over the years. I understand that is where some people have their distrust for the English national team. I know that's where it comes from, for English players too. But I won't like to take anything away from the current crop of English players. I mean, individually, in their different club side, most of them that are in this particular team did so well for themselves on club level.
Right.
And if it was the team that came into the previous Euros, maybe I would have raised eyebrows when I was seeing people like Raheem Sterling, I was seeing people like Jack Grealish, all those kind of people like that. But right now, most of those on the team, you won't say, I don't think there are more than 2 or 3 people in that 23-man squad that you point and say doesn't deserve to be in the team. Yes, you can make cases and say, okay, this particular person, if he was here, things would have been different. But when you ask yourself, did this person have a very good season? Yes, he did. And I think that's what Southgate decided to go with. And also remember that he had to use what was at his disposal in certain positions. The defense was unfortunate that coming into this competition, his trusted backline, either with injuries or sickness, and he couldn't get what he used to have. So maybe I'll just say, the English media loud, yes, should they? But are they actually the reason these players are there? No, I think this particular point in time, I think Southgate got it right when he selected players without bias. I mean, if it was with bias like this, I'm very sure would have been seeing Raheem Sterling in that team, because I've seen it right instead. I've seen in Marcus Rashford. Those are his backbone players. At the World Cup, at the Euros, in the Nations League, they are always there. So when he took the bold decision to drop some of these names right from when he released the 30-man squad, I knew that okay, this time around he decided to pick based on performance and not just because they've been a long-standing member of the Three Lions.
All right. Okay, now talking about the media, let's move away from the Euros. Let's come to our local league. The season is over in the Nigerian Professional Football League. Yeah, Rangers won the league, and we've seen the number of teams that are promoted to the Nigerian Professional Football League. Kudos to them. Now, let's move from that. Let's see from this angle. Why I feel personally, I felt so. Why is it that Nigerian league is not being consistent? What do I mean by that? Last season, when the season was over, we had a competition, Super 8. It was so high, shown on all channels. You know, everywhere was just bubbling, and I felt personally, that was what brought this kind of view we had this season, because people really viewed Nigerian Professional League this season. You know, getting to the stadium, you see everywhere is buzzing with a lot of people. You know, the crowd, everything, the fans, even from home, the views from home is massive. But then things that could promote the league is being stopped, like the Super 8 they played last season. Why, or do you think we lack the consistency or the attributes to continue in that light in our league?
Well, maybe because I'm someone that's been inside, so there are certain things that I see differently. For instance, the Niger Super 8 is something that was not organized by the league body. It was organized by someone who privately decided to do something like that, invited clubs, made it something for the fans. I mean, the fans got to vote for who participates in that competition. I think apart from, everyone had to be voted to participate. And then we got wildcards. That's where teams like Sporting Lagos got the chance, because obviously at that point in time, they won't have the numbers to be able to vote. Maybe right now, yes, because they've gotten so much attention. But at that point in time, if you say, okay, they should vote, fans should vote for who should participate in the Nigeria Super 8. I'm very sure Sporting Lagos will have never even gotten that chance. So yes, so it was a private investment. And from what I learned at the end of the competition, it's something that the owner or the person who is the pioneer of that thing wishes to continue. The league just ended yesterday. And of course, a lot of things will go back. The transfer window will be open soon. Continental teams will start getting ready for all of that, and a lot of competitions will start. That's a pre-season tournament. It's not a league tournament. There are a lot of pre-season tournaments that are going into. I don't want to mention names because most of them have partnership names. So all of these things come before the start of the season in preparation for the new season. So I'm not going to say I'm sure, but it's something I heard the pioneer or the person who organized it say, and hopefully it might come up. But not just that, there are other preseason tournaments apart from that in which all the teams get opportunities to participate in. For the league body, inconsistency, yes, they have a lot of things they're inconsistent in. But looking at the thing about getting fans to come to the stadium, I think it's because the league is more on TV this season than it has ever been. It's usually on TV, but in the past couple of years, we've had just selected venues. The league has not been able to, since we always have issues with our promoters, our broadcasters, and everything. So at the end of the day, for a window of like 5 years, anytime the league wants to transmit games, they'll just pick selected venues on a match day. And on a match day, we have 10 games. They can decide to just show two or three. But this season, we had it in almost every match day. We had the opportunity to watch at least eight of these games every match day. So that's made people to become more invested in the Premier League. Because I mean, people have different reasons to support a Nigerian team. Someone can be in Lagos and say, okay, I'm supporting Rangers. When you ask him, you say, okay, my mom is from Enugu, and where my dad is from, my dad is from Osun, and there's no Osun team in the NPFL. And when Sporting Lagos got promoted, the person can decide, okay, I also like Sporting Lagos. Let me support them because I mean that's the closest to my destination. So I think that's what brought a lot of people to watch. But when it concerns coming to that's watching it, I'm talking about watching from home, streaming it. But when it concerns watching, I think because people are just seeing people in the stadium because they are watching from home, that's why they think people do not watch the NPFL. Or maybe people are not used to seeing it in Lagos and other venues. People in Ibadan are used to it. Last season, I think I saw most of the Southwest derbies in Ibadan. I used to stay in Ibadan, so I have reasons to always go to the stadium. The Lekon Salami Stadium houses around 10,000 people. And anytime 3SC was playing, they had the bad season that season, but every time they are playing, they'll fill up that stadium. So when people start seeing them on TV this season and they'll see that stadium is filled up, like, hey, it's because this season is loud. Nah. Ibadan people love their football. The only reason you will not see people come to watch football in a place like Ibadan is when they're in the NNL, they are pissed. But when they came back to the NPFL, they'll come to watch them. If you go to the Remo Star Stadium in Ikene, people always come to come and watch their games. I think most of these teams that have this community kind of entitlement, where the people around that area feel like this is our team, is our own, they go to watch games. The ones in the north are even more than what we see in the south. The northerners go out to watch games. I think the place where we lost the interest in watching live games was in the southeast and in the south-south. In the southeast, in the south-south, back then when we used to see rivalry between teams like Dolphin and Sharks, but when they merged them to become Rivers United, it lost its essence. So it's kind of things that made fans in places like Rivers State now, you say Rivers United is playing the Continental game and they don't have a field stadium. Back then when they had two different teams, Dolphins and Sharks, where they hated each other, you see fans come out for the game, come and beat me, let me see. You understand? In the south, different reasons made people stop going to stadiums when some of the stadiums were moved far from where people could reach. Some of the reasons where you see a lot of people believe that, okay, I don't know, there was just different things that in the south now, or southeast with the stay at home on Mondays now, you want to go and watch another team in another city and you feel like, okay, I can't make it back to my state. The road network also, a lot of things determine why people travel to go watch games in neighboring states. I mean, I get to go watch games. I stay in Abeokuta. I go to watch games in Ibadan. I go to Ilorin. I come to Lagos to watch match games, and that's because the road network is still preferable. If you go to such places where the road network is very bad, some of those things discourage people. But I think with the fact that people start watching on TV from the start of the season, you start following, start seeing anything that happens. If there's any decision that will make people converse on social media for the entire Monday, Tuesday, because of that, start bringing interest back into the league. And recently we had this Oriental Derby that's in the south, that was a title deciding game between Rangers and Enyimba, and then we saw a field stadium. And because people are not used to that particular part of the east having a field stadium in this era, back then it was a normal thing. Back then as close as 2008, 2009. So when I'm saying back then, see, it's not a long time ago, but I mean, a decade can take away a lot of essence from your game. So I think, kudos to the league body for making it easy for people to access the game on screen. And I think that's what drove more interest to the NPFL, that's the Nigerian Premier Football League, getting to be more accepted by the Nigerian people again. And of course, a lot of people are involved in the conversation until the last day. Even right now, as the league is over, people are talking who is going to play next season. We know the people that are promoted beyond limits. There's El Kanemi Warriors. We also have Ikorodu City of Lagos, and then the final one being Nasarawa United. They are both coming back. That's El Kanemi and Nasarawa United after 1 year sojourn in the NNL. So yes, we know these people, but people are still talking, okay, what will happen, this and that. And that's because, like I said, when we have this, I'm going back to going back to talking about theories now. I read mass communication, sorry. There's this thing we call selective, the laws or the rules of selective. We have the selective retention, the selective participation, and all of that, all of the rules of selective, where people are drawn to what they constantly see. When you get to see things frequently. Why a lot of us are invested in all of these European clubs, because every time you watch their games, you understand. So I think that's what is coming back to the NPFL because of the viewership. We should be encouraged, because that's where one of the inconsistencies used to be. They can start something like this, and after a while like this, everything is scattered. So hopefully next season did not tell us that they cannot stream all the games like they used to. That will make people lose interest again, like they did in previous years.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully next season we see a better NPFL. Viewers at home, you are still watching K-Sport podcast, and I would love for you, like we used to tell you, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search for K-Sports_podcast. K-Sports Podcast on Instagram, on Facebook, K-Sports Podcast. On Instagram is K-Sports_podcast. We have a WhatsApp TV. The number will be rolling on your screen. You can add up, get the latest football gist, football news, and every sport of all sports. You get it from our channel. I still have with me on the show Euphoria. Right? Am I right?
Yes, okay. Euphoria.
All right. Coming back to you, Euphoria. Now, let's talk about you for a while.
Okay.
You love sports. Which football club do you support?
Football club in Europe, I support Chelsea.
Okay.
In the local league, I am neutral.
You're neutral. Okay.
Yeah, because of my profession, so I do not like.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that. Well, sitting before you is an Arsenal fan, so we are rivals.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So now going to the next season, going to the new season coming, where did you see your team? Where did you see Chelsea?
I see them in the English Premier League.
No. You're not playing the English Premier League.
Yes.
Like your expectation on your team in the next season.
I think I speak on behalf of almost every Chelsea fan that say we take it as it comes, because if you're putting expectation on this present Chelsea team, you just get your heart broken. I think the first season, last 2 seasons, we had a very bad season, and I mean last season was terrible. Last season was still salvageable. Last season under Graham Potter, under Frank Lampard, and I mean you could tell that, and for a while under Thomas Tuchel, I am not going to forget him, because he was also the start of the genesis of the whole issue. So yes, after that season, Chelsea fans started to lower their expectations, and then last season, Pochettino came in with so much promise. We could see what he did in the preseason together with the boys and all of that, and then we started to dream again. And then after the first months, everybody came back to KK. Lower expectation again, and I mean became so complacent. You could see conversations among Chelsea fans and say, okay, you are so sure that there was a pattern when you're playing big teams, you're gingered because of based on the history, based on the rivalry. Whenever you want to play Arsenal, Chelsea was very terrible, but when they wanted to play Arsenal at the Stamford Bridge last season, they were so charged.
Double their power.
Definitely, and even scored 2 early goals. Yeah. But I mean, Arsenal would come back and drew 2-2 in that game. When they wanted to play Man City, everyone said Man City would beat Chelsea, that is at the Stamford Bridge. And then they gave us probably, or what was even voted the best game of last season by the fans, by even the Premier League themselves. They categorized the Chelsea Man City game, that 4-4 draw, as the best game for last season. So when you wanted to play, what's their name? Wanted to play United too. We've lost to United. We've not won United in a while. I think since 2017 we've not defeated Man United, especially at the Stamford Bridge. But that day, I mean, going into that game, we still had expectations. We scored early goals, of course. That's how it usually starts. And then at the end of the day, we saw the whole thing, how the game played out. But as a Chelsea fan, you always believe that when you are playing 19th place Sheffield United, just expect they beat you. Everything is going well, just expect a 1-0 defeat. That's it. And it was always coming in that way. So for me, going into this new season, first of all, I want to look at what the entire scouting department is up to, because they've just been doing me bad blues, and I'm seeing, Chelsea is probably one of the laughing stock of the traditional top six teams in the transfer market because of what is going on. Today, you are going for Jonathan David. Next tomorrow, you are going for Samuel Alajo and all of that. So it's, like I said, it's something that I am not really putting so much interest in yet. Probably because, like I said, there's a lot on my plate. There was the NPFL after the league ended, and then there's Euros. And because the Euros is there, there's not so much that people won't pay so much attention to the transfer window yet, because everybody's still trying to show themselves and put themselves in the Euros and the Copa America. After that, when we see the stars or the emerging stars, then you can decide, okay, these are the players that my team must go for. And if they are not going for them, you see breakdown on such in such fan base of a club. So maybe that's why I'm still chilling. At least, thankfully, there's a coach that is going with them, Enzo, going with them next season. So that is sorted. So going into the next season, for me right now, my expectations are still very low. I don't expect them to do terrible. Like I said, I'm still keeping my expectation very low so I won't get disappointed. But maybe when the transfer window is done, by the time the league resumes in August and everyone is getting ready, okay. And then when they start playing the what's that song again? I'm trying to remember the title where you said Osnia asked me, remembering the teams that you play in the conference league. Where you said the team goes, I'm trying to remember the name of the song right now. So when we get to that stage in football, maybe I'll think about Chelsea. But right now, please let me focus on beefing the Three Lions. That's what I'm all about.
Okay, you're still on the beef of the Three Lions.
By special
let's talk about the coach of Chelsea, the present coach, Enzo Maresca.
Okay.
Yeah. We saw what he did with Leicester City in the championship. Yeah. They won the league and all, a very nice team and all. Do you think he would be capable of handling Chelsea with the name of Chelsea, like the caliber of club Chelsea is? Chelsea has been one of the consistent big six in the Premier League. So do you think someone like with his CV, with what he has in the CV, do you think he worked under Guardiola? Do you think he can handle Chelsea?
Truthfully, as someone that's watched that Chelsea side in over 2 decades now, I think it's not a question to answer like so early. Okay. Because that Chelsea job can swallow anybody. They can sack anybody. I'm not even saying the sacking part. I'm just saying it can swallow anybody. You get in there and things are different. You get there for Mauricio last season. You also want to cut him some slack. I do not like him for what he did, but you also want to cut him some slack because Chelsea had the longest list of injury players last season. So like I said, you won't want to judge him until he gets into the job, and then we see his style, we see his pattern. But looking at what he did with Leicester City, really commendable. Leicester City is not a small team, unfortunately for them, or really sad they had to take the drop. But they are back right now. Yeah. But you won't call them a small team. Anything that has won the league is not small. Team, And not just winning the league, the next season, 2 seasons ago, they won the FA Cup. They defeated the same Chelsea. In the FA Cup final under Tuchel. The start of the very long domestic cup finals. Sorry about that. Oh my God. Anyways, for Enzo, I think for someone, I always like people who can use what they have at their disposal to be able to do things, but I won't judge. Because, like I said, it's a different ballgame when it comes to the Premier League. When all of us saw what Vincent Kompany did with Burnley, everyone was saying, yes, this playing at nice football. I always like to see people who can use things at their disposal and also adapt to their current environment. That's what Kompany did not do. Kompany did not adapt to the Premier League. You came in with a style that worked for you in the league, and when you came in there, your own thing is to survive in the Premier League. That's your job. Your first job is to survive. Your board did not back you with the necessary signings and all of that. He had limited money to spend to keep up with the kind of standard that the Premier League has, and maybe that's why they did not sack him. That I believe that's why they didn't sack him. And he finished the season with them, relegated them, and they were still even happy until he got the job with Bayern. So I feel like no judgment for Enzo yet. I won't judge him based on what he has done. What he has done is really laudable, really commendable. He was able to work with people that have won the league before. Some of them are still in the team, Vardy and the likes of them. He was able to work with some of the times where some of his dependent players were not available. We had some time when he had to go off injured. I mean, he missed the AFCON, all of that. And he was able to work with what he had in his disposal. So in the championship, I saw that he was able to work with what he had. Coming to Chelsea, you have so much options. Chelsea keeps on buying. Yeah. If I do my leg like this, they'll come and buy me. So when you come in and you have so much at your disposal, I want to see how he will be able to cope. Will you be able to keep your head in the game and do your selection right, or you will be overwhelmed? That's what I'm saying. Chelsea is a job that can overwhelm anybody. At Leicester, you have to use what you have. At Chelsea, they'll keep giving you. It's not your problem to start. It's not your, let's say, manager's headache. It's not your headache to start doing the selection properly. So for Enzo, let me just wait and see what the first 2-3 months in the league has to offer.
All right. Let's wait. Let's wait and see what the job has to offer Enzo Maresca. Okay, let's come back to our national team, the Super Eagles of Nigeria. You know, like you said, to me, the Super Eagles is just like Chelsea. You know, they have a lot of potentials, and at the end of the day, they make us feel, God, why? You get? But then, with our current situation, the current situation of Nigeria, let me say, in all ramifications, with the current situation of Nigeria, both football and the economy, everything, do you think the Super Eagles of Nigeria will be in the next World Cup?
Do I think it's still a long road, but it's still achievable? I mean, it's an expanded World Cup, the first of its kind. We'll be having 48 teams. At least we have 9 teams from Africa, and if possible, it's possible we have as much as 11 teams when they do all the plus and minuses, and there's still a possibility that we have 2 more teams that giving slots from Africa. So, I mean, miracle don't retire Jesus. Yes, but looking at what we have currently, it's terrible. It's really, really bad, considering the fact that we started with winnable fixtures, the one against Lesotho and Zimbabwe, which we should have won. I felt we should have won. Yeah. And that would have put us in a very good position to actually start this year's campaign. I mean, all of those games were played last year. Start this year's campaign in a more rested style. Maybe that's when you start trying out to bring some of those names that were not in the team last year. Some of these players that played all the entire season, you want to rest them and decide, okay, this one should come and try it out. But we're already in a very terrible position from what we played last year with just 2 points. And coming into this one, we had to win. They were must-win games and ended up not winning any of them, either of them. Managed the draw in Uyo, went over to Abidjan to lose. For the World Cup, like I said, it is still possible, it is still achievable. And it just takes us to have this winning streak, and I mean, it goes from there. And once you start winning 33 points, before you know it, that's football. Once you win, suddenly it changes your position on the table. Yeah. And before you know it, from where you are, you're already moving and all of that. So, and then the narrative changes. It's because you're not winning. People forget that between the time when we had that very terrible run of the World Cup qualifiers in October and November, and this time we had another terrible run in June, we played the AFCON. Yeah. We got to the final of the AFCON with the same set of players, most of them actually. I mean, with the same set, because they are the ones that did not win the first 2 games, so I won't cut them all the slack. I just feel like it's still possible. But with the whole drama going on, I just hope that the players themselves, not just the coaches. I know a lot of people want to always push the blame on coaches. I feel like the players should also know that this is really important. And if they don't get the tickets, maybe someone should tell them that by the time it will be time for another World Cup in 2030, many of them will not be in the national team anymore. Many of them will have their prime will have phased out, and between 2018 and 2030, many of them will have finish their time with the national team, maybe that will spur them to know that, okay, this is very important for us to achieve. And I mean, why won't you participate in a World Cup as large as 48 teams? What is your excuse? What's the excuse of having 9 slots coming from Africa, and as the giant of Africa that you call yourself, you're not going to be there? It's really annoying, but I'm not annoyed yet. I'm still keeping composure for now until please let's still maintain composure. I'm still trying to be reasonable with them until everything gets. It won't reach that. Hopefully, it doesn't reach that extent. But hopefully, like I said, until that time, let's keep it calm with them. Let's hope that they'll be able to get the job done. And I mean, from this, I think 2 days ago, we celebrated the 30th year of we attending our first World Cup. And of course, winning our first game at the World Cup. That was the game in which we played Bulgaria and scored 3 goals with Amunike, Rashidi Yekini with the very legendary celebration, and of course, Amokachi. I mean, it was all over social media, and I was looking at it like, can't these players look at themselves and say, okay, do you want to miss something like this? Because there are a lot of players in this present team that have not ever played at a World Cup. Yes, we have some of them that played in 2018, but majority of them have not played. And if you don't play, who told you that you'll be fit to play the next one, 2020, or you won't be called, you won't be selected, or you won't be in the favor of the coach? A lot of things changes. I don't know why players don't think. Maybe I should be thinking for them, but hopefully, like I said again, I hope that we don't get to that stage where it becomes so bad that we'll start praying for the +2 to come to Africa or something, and maybe that's where they can say, miracle in Jesus, let's just give them something like that.
Yo, Euphoria. Yeah, a quick one. Female football has been something not really being talked about. Presently, our female Flamingos, they just qualified for the World Cup. Yes, congratulations to them. What do you have to say? Just a quick one. What do you have to say about female football in Nigeria? And then go around the top.
In Nigeria, yes, we've not gotten to that stage where it's being talked about enough. But I feel like it's still a learning curve for everyone. Even the well-developed teams are just getting on board, and we are just celebrating sold-out stadiums in Europe in recent years. I think some of the first teams to do that are Barcelona's female team, Arsenal's female team. Those are teams that fill up their stadiums, their men's stadium, not their stadium. I mean, most of these female teams used to play in smaller stadiums, for Chelsea, Kings, Middle, for Arsenal when it gets to sell out the Emirates last season. Barcelona have been doing that consistently for 2 years now. We've seen them sell out the Camp Nou and all of that. And like I said, consistently in recent years, it's something that's just started in recent years, and those ones are starting to see the importance of promoting female sports, not just football, everywhere. It's not just football. Like I said, it's just starting to sink into people's head that this is something actually lucrative, something people want to talk about when they see it. Remember I talked about people are interested in what they see. So when you project it to them, they'll talk about it. I don't like to say it, but we're a poor country. We don't have that money, or we don't see ourselves getting that money to invest in sports. A lot of people, especially the government, feel like sport is something that is to empower. They look at sports from parts to empower the youths. They don't look at it from the angle of it being a business, a thriving business where you can actually get mad money. Football is blood money, like people like to say, and I don't know, we don't see it yet in that light. You can see that female sports or female football in other countries right now are drawing the attention of top sponsors. I will not mention names too, but you can see what Barcelona women's team is getting. They even get to fly their private jets last season when they are going to games in other countries, when they were playing the Women's Champions League. They were traveling on their own private jets, and they got that last season. So like I said, when you start to show people this sport, when people start to see it, people start to watch it, people start to talk about it, these numbers are things that sponsors are attracted to. They like to see numbers. When you can prove to them, okay, people are watching this thing, okay, we want to show them, I want them to see us too when they're watching your games. So we want to invest in it. So right now, with the current situation, fashion might not just do it. If you want to travel to go watch female football in your state. I stay in Abeokuta. If I want to watch female football, the closest to me is in Ikene. And 2 years ago, going to Ikene, I'll spend less than 2,000 naira going to Ikene. Right now, if I'm going to watch any game in Ikene, I spend nothing less than 10,000 naira going there. So it's more than passion for you to go cover female sports right now. And I mean, when there's no coverage, the NPFL, if I don't go, I'll get to watch it. If I don't go to watch the NWFL, whatever they decide to tell me that is there. And that's because I even like football. I'll be interested to know, okay, what the Remo ladies play. They just played Confederation, the FA Cup semi-finals. They lost out. That's because I'm interested. I go and dig out ways to find it. I speak to, because I get to talk to administrators and all of that in those clubs, and that share travel. Are you guys? Did you travel? Where is your game going to be at? Because some of these things are hidden infos. You don't get them on social media. The league will not even talk about them. You need to ask people that are actually there to find out some of this information. So all of these factors are things that have made female football not thrive as much as we want it in Nigeria, and not gain the fast and rising thread of popularity, and even different things, not just popularity. We're seeing equal pay in some countries for female football. The United States have started it. We've seen that in Europe now we get women get leave when they are on their periods now. They are introducing all of those things to make it easy for them. All of this is because people are watching them. Like I said, when you watch them, you know their problems. You get to find out, okay, this player needs to go on maternity leave and she's not getting paid. People will talk about it and criticize the people there, and those ones that people are looking at us, they'll change it. And that's what is lacking in our football. Show people what they need to talk about. Show people that this thing is possible. And when people start watching it, you will be surprised how many investors want to invest in such a sport. We didn't know it was possible in the last 3 years in women's football in Europe, but it's possible right now because we are seeing so much money go into women's football in Europe. We've seen that even Chelsea have moved their games from the small. I remember back there watching Chelsea when the players kicked the ball, you could hear echoes and all of that. And last season, when they were going to play Barcelona in the second leg of the women's Champions League, Stamford Bridge was sold out to come watch female football. I know my friends who went to watch that game, and they were mostly people who follow Chelsea men's club. But I mean, like I said, when you get to watch them, because everything is now in your face, you get to watch them on TV. The league body is making it accessible for you to stream them. Just pay, you stream. You can always pay, you stream. All of this is what the NWFL should try, but it's hard. But hopefully you get there. They will say Rome was not built in a day. Hopefully we'll get there someday.
Yeah, Rome was not built in a day. Yeah, we've come to the end of the show for today. Ifeora, thanks for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
So, and Ifeora, thanks for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Yeah. It's a very sweet moment on the show with Ifeora in Sports Female Genius. And Ifeora, like I said, thanks for coming. And we have a package for you from K Sports Podcast.
Please don't tell me I'm going to answer any questions to get it.
No. And on behalf of the management of K Sports Podcast, we'll be presenting this to you.
Thank you.
Viewers at home, we are coming to the end of another episode of K Sports Podcast. I beg, Enzo, be cool. Go and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all social media platforms, especially on YouTube via K Sports Podcast. K Sports is spelled like this: KHAYSPORTS Podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Instagram as well, ksports_podcast. On Facebook, we are there, K Sports. Thank you very much and thanks for watching. Peace out.